Let's make some easy homemade Christmas decorations and gifts. I made these super easy candle holders and baubles from air-dried clay. I started with this air-dried clay and rolled it out to about 1 centimetre thickness. Then using this star-shaped cookie cutter, cut out the star shape. I cleaned up the edges with a little bit of water, smoothing everything out and removing any cracks. I then rolled out another piece of clay the same thickness, but this time a long rectangle, a few centimetres wide and long enough to wrap around a candle. To attach these two pieces together, I used a clay scratching tool, which is just a tool that can scratch and score the surface of the clay. Doing this to both edges of the pieces I wanted to join together. Then using a little more water, combine the pieces together. The scratched surfaces give a little more hold, and the water will act as a glue. I joined the rectangular piece of clay into a circle, with the same method. Press down the edges to attach onto the base. Don't forget to also press down the inside edge too. Double check the size of the holder, making sure a candle fits nicely inside, not too big, not too small, enough that the candle is held upright on its own. Clean up the entire piece, smoothing out any cracks or fingerprints, with water and a paintbrush. I made a few more items, a few more star candle holders, some flower candle holders that I made the exact same way as the stars, but used a flower cookie cutter instead. I also made some clay tree decorations by cutting out flat pieces of clay with various Christmassy shaped cookie cutters, remembering to add a small hole at the top to add the ribbon later. Then leave them all to dry, following your clay's drying instructions. I had to leave mine for about 3 days. I eventually found that leaving them in our airing cupboard helped out a lot, so if you can, leave them in a warm, dry place to speed up the drying time. It's important to flip the pieces every now and then, so the clay all dries equally. Once they are dry, sand the pieces to remove any lumps or bumps. I recommend doing this in a well-ventilated place. Wear a mask if you need, and do it over a tray or surface you can clean up easily, as it will get very dusty. This next step is important to make sure your clay and paint doesn't crack later down the line. You need to prime the clay. I use gesso. Give it a good shake and paint on a layer to each piece. When doing the candle holders or anywhere where the paint could pool, try to paint in thinner layers so you don't end up with big drips of paint. Leave these to dry for the time specified on your primer. Gesso recommends 24 hours. After the primer dries, it's time for the fun part, the decoration. I used acrylic paints. I painted a couple of the candle holders dark green, some golden yellow, and the rest a Christmassy red. I left the inside of the holder and the outer rim unpainted, as I had a special plan for these. For the flat decorations, I painted these various colours for the base colour. I'll go in later for the details. For the candle holders, I wanted to add a bit of extra shine. I thought I could do that with these gold, silver and bronze Sharpies. I tried the bronze with the dark green. It worked pretty well, but found it soon got quite dry and I couldn't finish the full holder. I tried the silver acrylic paint with the yellow holders. This worked much better. So later on I had to go out and get some gold and bronze paint to finish the green and red holders. For an extra touch, I added little triangles onto the edge of the star candle holders. I thought this added just a little extra shine. Now onto the tree decorations. After the initial base colour was dried, I used acrylic paint pens to add the details. For the stars, I added a snowflake design. Very simple, but very effective. The Christmas trees, I added some white tinsel and baubles in every colour of paint pen I had. I decorated all the ornaments a similar way, using acrylic paint and paint pens, giving them fun and colourful designs. After all the designs were finished and the paint was completely dried, I used this gloss varnish to seal the paint. You could use Mod Podge or a UV resin, but make sure you test it on a scrap piece of painted clay before using on your final products, to make sure you'll get the results you want. Finally, to finish the clay decorations, I used some organza ribbon, threaded through the hole I made on each of the decorations. I tied it in a knot to create a loop, trimmed the edges diagonally, and carefully Use a flame to seal the edges of the ribbon. And that's it! I created these to add to my Christmas decor. Some I will give as gifts, and some I would like to sell at the Christmas markets I'm doing this year. There's endless designs you can create. Create them using any Christmas cookie cutters you have, and decorate in any way to match your Christmas theme. If you decide to make these, make sure you tag me on my Instagram. I would love to see the designs you come up with. Happy crafting, and I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas.